Hello everybody. Right, today we are going to use all the things we've done this week to learn the story of the Three Little Pigs and write some sentences about it. Now, some of you might write some words, some of you are going to write some sentences, and some of you, I'm sure, will be able to write a beautiful story. So I shall look forward to reading those. Now, I'm going to do a little bit with you, and then with your grown-up, you can write the bit of the story that you want, whether you're going to write some words. Ideally, grown-ups, they could actually all write a little sentence, and then some of them will be able to put sentences together. So, what you need to remember, children, is the story of the Three Little Pigs. And on the blog yesterday, we had pictures for each of the steps of the story, so you might want to ask your grown-ups to remind you of the pictures. I'm not going to write the whole story out because you're going to do that by yourself, but I'm going to write the little bit out where the wolf says, I will huff and I will puff and I will blow your house down. It's a long sentence, but I think we all know it by heart. Can we say it together? I will huff, I will puff, and I will blow your house down. Now, grown-ups, they don't know all the sounds like the ow sound in house or the O sound in blow, but the secret is we're trying to teach them to become confident with their writing, so to have a go, and sometimes that just means they might write the first and the last sound, and sometimes they'll spell it phonetically, which is what we're after, on their own. Last week you did some great work with some people who let their children sound it out, and that's what we need them to do, so it builds their confidence. So I'm going to do this bit with you, and then I suggest when you turn me off, then you take some of the bits of the story and write about the other bits. Right, so what do we need to remember when we write sentences? What do we need at the beginning? We need a capital letter, don't we? We're going to have I. And in between each word, so we write a word, then what do we need? We need a finger space. And then at the end of our sentence, you're right, you know it, we need a full stop. And then we must remember, children, to read it back to make sure it makes sense. Now, grown-ups, this is probably the hardest thing we do in reception, to get them to do independent writing. So it is tricky, but we try and build up their stamina. So, you know, you might have to have a little couple of goes and go back to it, and then have a little go, just read it back to them or with them. Right, so we're going to start off with I will huff. I, right, we all know I, that's the first word on our first rocket. All the children should know I by now. I. Right. I've not actually sat that on the line, the children will tell me off. Right, our first sound, then we need a finger space, and then we're going to sound out will. What sounds can you hear in will? Go on, segment it, write it down, children. Will. Did you get it? Ooh, I, oo. Now, some children who've been learning the two letters, one sound might at this point say to us, is it two letters or one letter? And if they ask you, then say, oh, it's two letters, one sound for that all. But if they don't, they leave it at oo, I, oo, will. I will, what's the next word? Tell me. Huff. Huff. So we need to segment huff. Go on, write it down. Huff. Finger space, huff. We need huff. 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 Again, some children at this point might say, is it two letters or one letter? If they ask you, it's two letters, one sound. If they don't, leave it like that. I will huff. I will huff. I will huff. What's the next word? I will huff. And. And. Off you go. Write the word and. Don't wait for me. See, parents, they need to be doing this themselves. Even if they're not getting the right sounds down. Just let them get on with it and write it. And I will huff and what's the next word? I will huff and puff. Puff. Come on, write it down. Puff. Puff. Finger space. Puff. Segment it. Puff. Read it back. I will huff and puff. What's the next word? I will huff and puff. And we've already written it once, so we can write it again. And now I don't think I've got enough room here, so I'm going to go back across to the trees here, back onto the left hand side and write and. And what's next? I will huff and puff and blow. Now, the children haven't been taught the O sound. Some will remember it from their reading, so they might get the correct spelling. A lot won't though. So this is what I'd do in school. I'd go blow. What sounds can you hear in blow? Now, I think a lot would write this, blow, because I don't know what the O sound is. They might know it, that the R says O, but a lot of children would go blow. What can you hear? They can hear a B, L, O, blow. Some will know the O sound, but if they do this, if they're using their phonic knowledge, don't correct it for them. I will huff and puff and blow your. Now your's difficult too. That is a rocket word, but doesn't come from much later yet. So your, I would say to them, what words, what sounds can you hear in your? And they will probably write this. Yeah. If they write something else, then just let them get on with it. Hopefully they'll get the first and last sound. Let's read it back. I will huff and puff and blow your house. Now I know exactly how the children must do this one. Get them to write it down and see if I get it right, how they're going to spell it. House. What sounds can you hear? House. House. This is how I think most children in reception will spell house until they've learned the correct spelling. House. They will go h, a, o, s. I will huff and puff and blow your house. H, a, o, s. House makes perfect sense if you're 4 or 5. Then down. Now they don't know the ow sound in down, but they should definitely get the d and the n. So down, down. Write down the sounds that you can hear. Don't give them the spellings grown up. Down. This is how many will write it. D, o, n. I will huff and puff and blow your house down. And we need at the end of the sentence a full stop. So we've learnt lots of sentences for the story, so they can choose which they're going to write. Don't just copy this, or if they are going to do this sentence, don't let them be looking at mine. If your child is working just at word level, I would use words like pig, huff, puff, run. They could do sticks, they could do bricks, straw might be a bit tricky, but pick out some of the words that are more phonetic for them to write down. Children working at sentence level, you could do the pig built a house. You know, just pick some, or do this sentence without looking at this. And the children who are able to write sentences, then I would suggest they write a little sentence for maybe 6 of the pictures. I think if you did all of the pictures, that might be a bit too tiring for them. But maybe 6 of the pictures, go around that story map and write a sentence for each of the the pictures, that's what we're going to be doing in school this week. And then if you want to send us pictures, that would be great. Any work like this that you're doing, if you could keep it and send it in with their folder when we come back into school, because then we'll put it all in their school books. So good luck with that. I know this is a hard job. It's hard at school, let alone at home, but please do have a go. And if they are struggling, just keep encouraging them so that they're not frightened of having a go. Thank you.